Or there's
I had one dead for about an hour one time.
Oh, see. Now, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can use a persistent stream key too,
Yeah.
or you can refresh and use a new one every time.
I got lucky one time. It was down for about an hour. I got it running again, but that was the only time it's ever worked.
Mm-hmm.
I got lucky. I'm not sure I can't run a little promotion on the things so we do get a bunch of viewers. I'm gonna try it here after we start. We'll see.
Yeah, sounds good.
If I can. If I can't, I won't. But if I can, I will. Let's see. I'll go ahead and go to the channel. That way I'm at the right place where I can find it.
Okay, so,
Then we know how long we've been going.
yeah, this
Yep.
is your timer.
That's official time.
Did you just start it again?
Well, we decide we want to go 45
Yeah,
minutes
Yeah,
or 30.
try to stay at 45, I think.
Okay.
We can.
All right,
We're good now.
We're on?
we're live now.
Hello.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna get the link.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. I am Bill WooFDriver Hellman.
I am Ann.
Para Ann.
Well, Para Ann, my official name. Yeah, whatever.
And I'm Curtis Weimer.
So we're here, and this is our first kind of podcast, live stream, conversation, whatever you want to call it. And we want everybody in the audience that watches us or comes across our channels to understand what we do. So a lot of times, if you see our videos or sometimes catch live streams we've done in the past, you might not understand the dynamics and the team and how we do things. So we wanted to take this time to explain it because we get some extraordinary paranormal evidence that probably nobody else, even the big shows, are getting. And we want to take this time to tell you how we get some of that evidence, what some of that evidence has been in the past, and what we anticipate in the future. So Anne from Spirit's Wake, Para Ann, she has been ghost hunting since...
I started when I was 14, so it's been a solid, 20 some odd years. So I started out just kind of on my own with the interest in the paranormal, and then when I was about 16, I actually started official investigation group called Spirit's Wake, and it was just me, so it wasn't really a group, but I called it a group because it sounded better. And then I did some local investigations in Havre de Grace, Maryland. I did all the bed and breakfasts and stuff in town, and then that sort of evolved over time into Coffee with the Dead, which became a podcast that I was doing for a while. That was just on I would stream it to Spotify and then also on YouTube with video. And then I met Bill and the team, and last year before COVID really hit, right? We started going out a lot, and it's just kind of snowballed on its own after that.
Ann's been doing a lot of ghost hunting, paranormal investigations before she met us.
Yeah, exactly. A lot, when I was younger, but I had taken some time off of that and just been doing the podcast around the time that I met Bill. So.
Yeah, and I'm the new man on the totem pole. Between Ann and Curtis, there's a wealth of experience and knowledge. And I had no idea, and I'll tell you my story in a second. But Curtis, I wanted him to share how long he's been in this and what he's about.
Well, I guess let's see. How long ago did we meet?
Move a little closer to the mic.
2015 was when I started
Yeah,
investigating you guys, I think.
I think so.
And yeah, I probably started investigating. Well, I mean, I've always had an interest in paranormal, and I've had experiences my whole life, but probably full-time investigating. Probably I started in 2010 or so. And I was on different teams. I was on my little local ghost hunting team down in Stanton, and then I had my own team for a while. And then I met Bill on Facebook, and started investigating with these guys. They called me up and said, "Hey, we're out and doing kind of urban exploration, and we're having paranormal activity." And so they asked me to go along with them and see what was up. And what was up was they were definitely having some paranormal activity.
Yeah. What happens is I'll give you a quick synopsis of my background. So I had no idea what paranormal ghost hunting was except for Ghostbusters, the movie. So I thought it was kind of, fun, big joke, whatever. I had no idea until I met Curtis and until I met Ann. But I started.
You were a skeptic, right?
I was a skeptic. Yeah, I started. What happened? I'm a what I call a dog adventurer. So I call myself the WooFDriver, and I go out on these exorbitant dog adventures. I have 4 huskies, and I run the team on bike-like sleds, bike-like dog sleds, for lack of a better description. And we go all over the East Coast. And because of the history in our part of the country, in the United States, of the East Coast, especially in the Mid-Atlantic region, Gettysburg, Civil War stuff, all the history, the beginnings of the United States, etc., we run into old ruins and trails and just steeped in history of these battles and wars and all kinds of stuff that I can't even really explain, because when you get out on these trails or in these locations, they're preserved. It's like you're entering a time capsule, because there's no development around there, and a lot of it's been just totally, I guess, taken care of.
And it's not in like a touristy area either, and it's ruins or just bits of history that aren't mapped and aren't going to be in the brochures at the visitor center. So it's like you're saying, you come across them and then you have to do the research and figure out, well, what's this cool looking place that I just found?
Exactly. We like to stay away actually from the mainstream area, because I'm kind of wide for any trail with the dogs, and everyone wants to stop and talk to us, and the dogs don't want to take any of the time to do that. They just want to go.
Or you're out at nighttime and it's just kind of creepy to stumble across a guy and 4 dogs.
Yeah, right. that goes without saying.
There's that.
Yeah, we go at night because during the warmer months, obviously it's cooler at night, and the dogs, because they're huskies, all dogs are probably they're pretty inefficient at cooling, so you can't really work them or even run them in the warmer weather without having the sun on them and everything else. So going at night really helps that, and that's how this all started with me, because we started venturing out. We see, and I've been doing this for about a quarter of a century, a little better than that. We started venturing out, seeing all the old ruins, seeing all these areas, and you close your eyes, you're like, what was this like in the Civil War? Because a lot of these are Civil War areas, actually.
And it's amazing, too, because those areas, they haven't, maybe people on the trail have passed by them and, admired them or looked at them or whatever, but and not many people have actually gone off the trail to walk around amongst them. So it's like we're some of the few who actually disturb that ground. And
yeah, exactly. Well, I got to when I first started, when I got an interest, we would see abandoned houses and abandoned structures, and a guy that was going with me, I call him my co-pilot, because usually we're out on the trail, I have someone with me when I'm wolf driving. And I decided one time, we saw an old abandoned house that looked really, really eerie. And I decided, because I've got an interest in this, to get a FLIR attachment. A FLIR is a thermal heat camera attachment for my phone. And I sent the guy's name was Rhett. I sent him into the house while I stayed with the dogs. And this was on the C&O Canal. And this is how it started. He went in there, and he actually got imagery of movement, which were probably anomalies of eyes and what looked to be eyes, and it chased him out of the house. He came flying out of there. I'm like, whoa, I thought someone was after him. I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, I don't know what's in there, but I don't want to go back in. And that's what we said. We got to get someone who knows about paranormal activity.
So it was just sort of an accident.
Yeah,
it was like you were in there to take pictures of like this cool looking abandoned house, but then there were the pictures came out looking different than what you see.
Exactly.
The video came out different. Yeah,
and that's
so
what
you're like,
That's what this was all about, because it's just being out on the trail at night with very little lighting and very little activity. It's just an eerie setting to begin with. So that's when we did some networking and were able to find Curtis.
That was a house with all the wolf spiders, right?
Yeah, that was the hell. That was what we call the hell house.
Covered with wolf spiders. I mean, I've never seen so many spiders in one place in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's covered, literally like covered, like they were like finger to finger, like all over the house.
Oh, it's got an
It was
Alfred
freaky.
Hitchcock setting right when you get there.
It was
but
freaky.
we were fortunate enough to be able to find Curtis through a friend of ours through networking, Facebook.
Yeah,
etc.
exactly. I think like everyone was found through like various degrees of separation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think I met you through Sean Webcore, who met me through my direct friend Annette, who I've known for the past like 20 years. And she just thought of me because Sean was talking to her about, we're starting this paranormal urbex team and we're looking for, people who want to go out and do it. And Annette was like, oh, I know the perfect person. And then
Yeah, exactly.
here we are.
Exactly. Well, when we started with Curtis, we went back to that house, to that what we're calling now the Hell House, to where Rhett went in and got the
It turns
imagery
out it was
with the
a
clear-
murder scene,
Yeah,
actually, so the name's pretty fitting.
Or something bad happened there. I'm not
Something,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, something bad definitely took place. But the craziest thing was, so I pull up and we meet Curtis, and Curtis, we explained to him, and he watched a couple of the WooFDriver videos on YouTube to see what we do. But it looked, when you see it in person, it's a lot more elaborate, for lack of a better description. So we pull up, we have a couple of my dog bike-like sleds with us, and Curtis is going to ride with me, and I'm going to be with the dogs. We're going to go down the C&O, and then there's going to be a team behind me, part of our team,
Yep.
which was Rhett, and somebody else was with us. I can't remember who now. Was Chris met us there, but I don't think he was on the bike with us.
Yeah, was that when we went the wrong way up that road and got all turned around and then had to carry the bike back across that bridge? And
No, that's the Paw
What's
Paw
that?
Tunnel. No, this is the first time I met you, and we were live streaming on Facebook, and believe it or not, a police officer, we're way back in the woods, and it was a DNR, or was a trail officer, whatever. It's CNO's federal, so it was a federal police trail officer, whatever they have, whatever titles they have. And he was like, "Oh my God!" He came out and he's like, "What am I looking at?" Because you got to understand this.
We're quite a scene when you first see us.
two huge recumbent bikes
Yeah.
with dogs attached to one. Curtis is back there filming with a night vision camera. The other two guys are kind of filming and following us. And I think Doug was with us.
Doug rode with you and Rhett drove me.
Okay.
That's how it went.
Okay.
And I just rode with Rhett.
Yeah, and we went. That was my first official introduction to paranormal ghost hunting, and that was back in 2015, I believe.
Yeah.
Nope, just winging it. Yeah.
It was quite a scene, but just to set the stage for you a little more, this house that we call the Hell House, which is the first place that I officially ghost hunted, was 2 floors, half of it's gone. So when you go up there, you got to be careful standing in it because you could fall through, like we were just talking about off camera. And it was quite a show. Curtis led the whole masquerade, led the whole party. You want to talk about it a little, Curtis? What the first time you saw that? Because you had no idea. We told you, hey, we think we have paranormal activity here. Can you come and check it out for us?
Well, I still think that house is going to fall down.
It's definitely gonna fall down.
It'll fall down at some point. What did we decide? I know we did some research on it, didn't we?
We did.
But I don't know if we got that through investigating or through our research. Was that it was a workers?
It was a workers.
It was a workers' house. It wasn't a lock house.
It wasn't a lock house.
But we kept getting. Remember, we got that. We kept getting. I can't remember the woman's name now. But
Yes.
But then they said something about her being French, and I think we came up with that maybe that the workers, that there was like
That's right.
that there was a lady who had lived there, or a lady who had lived there who had maybe been like, what would you call her, the house mother?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Who took care, and she was like the lady who took care of all the workers. But I think something happened to her, was what we gathered from the investigation.
Right.
Maybe one of the guys got drunk or something happened.
Like she told you, or?
I think that was what we got from investigating, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So it sounded like something. I mean, we didn't get the specifics, but it sounded like something bad happened to her.
Right.
Well, that's the case with most hauntings. I mean, you're not going to stick around if you died happy.
Yeah.
Usually.
Right. See, and I didn't understand. I don't understand a lot of the dynamics of paranormal investigations and what spirits we would potentially come in contact with and what it all means. And that's where Curtis and Ann are, books of knowledge.
And we got some crazy stuff on that investigation. So that's where we got these 2 orbs.
Yeah,
we've got that on video. And I mean, they're like about that big around, and they fly like right by the side of my head.
See-
it's on his camera, it's on the camera I was carrying it, and it was on the phone.
That's good confirmation when it's on like every piece of equipment too, because
Well, and they talked, and I said, was that you? And they said, yeah, that was us.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, we try to validate and actually, I guess, see how legitimate everything we get is by going back and figuring out could this have been electronic feedback, maybe from a walkie-talkie we might have, or a cell phone? Could this have been, someone walking by and setting off one of our sensors?
Yeah.
I know people out there, if you don't know about paranormal investigations, which I didn't, might be saying, well, how do you know they were talking? How do you know this, that, and the other? It's through sophisticated equipment we use that we can transfer, and if I'm saying this wrong, please correct me, Ann or Curtis, that takes audio waves that are not audible to our human spectrum, or what we can hear, and converts it into what sound waves we can understand and our ear can hear.
Yeah, like the equipment, there's stuff that's specially like calibrated for the spectrum that it's most commonly thought that the EVPs and whatnot speak on. But then again, you can also just use like the voice recorder on your phone, or just go pick up.
But you have to go back and review it.
We get a lot of disembodied
Well, you do.
voices.
Yeah.
You do. But the thing is, with the electronic recording, what the whole point of it is that it records at a different speed than sound actually travels to our ears, that our brains actually process it. So playing it back through any kind of electronic device, it's always going to be a bit more compressed, or a bit more just different from how our ears process the same exact sounds. And that's what allows us to pick up these different frequencies, and through like our editing software and whatnot, we can actually break it down and see the different like wavelengths, and so we can actually tell that, okay, there's a sound on a wavelength different from where our vocals are, or whatnot. And that helps with the process of elimination, with our debunking process. Because the first thought every time we get a voice or whatever is like, oh, okay, there must be somebody else on the trail.
Right.
Or maybe one of us was like muttering to ourselves and we don't remember.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things. And especially with being outside, there's endless possibilities of things that could be interfering that we aren't aware of.
Well, and I've debunked stuff before after I got footage from another camera and I realized it was somebody else.
After the fact
talking.
And
that's happened before. I've gotten stuff. I've gone through my evidence and thought, oh, I got a voice here, but then gone back and once I got somebody else, once I've gone back and gotten somebody else's footage that either Bill's recorded or Evan recorded or you recorded or somebody else recorded, I've realized that it was somebody on the crew or somebody talking.
Yeah, but in the moment, it's like we don't hear it, we don't see it, or it's easy to just like automatically like hear something and be like, oh, and get excited about it,
Yeah.
And then after the fact, we go back and listen and we're like, okay, yeah, that's really real. Like that voice is really clear. We really did hear somebody speak. Or it's like, oh no, that was actually just like, us crunching on the leaves or something.
Yeah,
So it's the review process that's really the exciting part, because investigating, it's like you're not really sure what you're getting, but you like maybe you might like get a weird feeling or goosebumps or something.
Yeah, and that's the real deal with us, because you can look at a lot of YouTube videos. A lot of people go and investigate, and for the thrill of it, they set stuff up. They don't really debunk themselves.
Oh no, we don't. We're not scripted.
We're
don't go in ahead of
this,
time. We're going in blind.
Yeah.
Every time. I mean, we go and scout the area in the daylight.
we're spontaneous too.
I mean,
well, we don't always
the location, right? Because we'll scout in the daylight just to make sure that we can be there, and also that. It's
we're going to be
that
safe
we actually want to
Well,
be.
like
somewhere that we want to be.
One night where we did the mill and the lighthouse, we didn't pick either one of those locations. The only reason we did them was because we got run off from where we were supposed to go.
Right, they were backup locations.
So they were both backup locations that any of us know anything about.
We were trying to do the Howard Tunnel where Abraham Lincoln had ridden through, and there's a lot of history there.
And that fell through.
Because we couldn't be on the trail. They kicked us off.
Yeah. And then, actually, the first time I met you too, Bill, the police showed up.
I have this thing with the police or something. Not that I do anything wrong.
No, that doesn't happen very often, but every now and then.
Oh, it's
someone
happened
just
to us
gets
a few
little too
times.
nosy
Yeah,
with us,
yeah,
and it's
but
like, yeah.
But you were saying, and this is where I totally. I mean, it's just mind blowing to me when I go out and I do my wolf driving, and we're not doing ghost hunting investigations, just out there at night. Sometimes even during the winter, I get stuck on the trail. We start late, and nightfall comes, and what we found is a lot of the video recordings of me, I'll narrate a lot on my WooFDriver videos. You can see it on the WooFDriver YouTube channel. And I'll be, this dog's doing this, we're having this conditions, temperatures, this. And all of a sudden, you'll hear some voices. And I'm by myself lately riding what I call the dog-powered scooter, the extreme scooter. And so it's just me, and you hear a whisper. And it's just like, again,
so did that only start after you started doing the investigations?
Well,
or was it something that always happened but you didn't really realize or pay any attention to it?
I think we started realizing after the investigations. One of the most vibrant one of the ones that sticks out the most is when we were on the Virginia Creeper Trail, I believe. And I was with Jim, who's an older gentleman. You've met Jim, who goes with us sometimes on some of the WooFDriver runs, some of the ghost hunting runs. He helps out with equipment, helps out with the dogs. He's a great guy. But we were on the trail, and he was my co-pilot. And it's so weird. We got to a place, it was pretty desolate, and this was during the day. And Curtis taught me you can ghost hunt all times, 24 hours a day.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
The
Darkness.
dead are always dead. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
They'll be there.
They don't really care what time it is.
No.
So we get to I'm looking to see how my camera's working. I'm reviewing the footage, and I'm like, who the heck's talking? And I'm like, Jim, you can see Jim. He's not talking. There's only dogs there, and there's only me, and you can hear me. And they were saying all kinds of stuff on my video, and it was a disembodied voice. And that was like a conversation that they started talking. So that was one of my first experiences on video. Of course, we didn't realize it when we were on the trail. But one of the more recent ones, which I wanted to tell you about, and I've told Curtis this, I believe, was when I got on to the scooter, I heard something, and I just started, there was snow on the ground. This is the dead of night. And I turned around and I said, did someone just say something? And I know we're looking for paranormal activity, disembodied
like this
voices.
Past winter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
Melissa, if you don't know Melissa, she reviews all the footage, and she works with Rod and edits the videos. Mm-hmm. And she was looking through there. She said when that happened, she showed me what happened. I did hear a voice, and it said something relevant to what we were doing, to what I was doing. So that I did actually hear, or I felt it.
Right.
Not sure what. And it was there, so it was pretty cool.
That's
pretty
fun,
cool.
yeah. And like the more you expose yourself to these investigations, your mind kind of becomes more open to the possibility of,
what else is out there.
Exactly. And then even on like a subconscious level, you become more sensitive automatically. So it's like you just notice things on a daily basis that you never noticed before. And then part of it is you've given yourself a new ability to be able to notice those things on a daily basis.
That's true.
And also now you're not ignoring them as like background noise or like your own internal dialogue. You're acknowledging them as probably a spirit.
Yeah, well, normally, I mean, if this is Paranormally. But normally, before I knew about any of this, before Curtis and Ann opened my eyes, I would hear something say, nah, that was nothing there. And a lot of times people do want to shoo it off because they don't want to know something's lurking around them that they're not exactly, they can't see, they can hear a little bit, and they,
But that's kind of what we do. Like the whole point of WereWoofs now is we have, of course, we're incorporating, the dogs, the urban mushing that Bill's been doing for
25
your whole
years
life,
plus.
right?
Yeah, basically.
Most
Already.
of his adult life, yeah.
Right, exactly.
And we're incorporating that with like the paranormal, which brings in like me and Curtis, and I like to partner in the name Spirits Wake there because that is, like we said in the beginning, my original investigation team. So we like to, kind of show the history of it, because we always talk about the history of every place we go to, because it'll be a spot on a trail that Bill and the dogs have already found. And then we bring in, like, myself and Curtis to do Curtis is the lead investigator, so he does most of the investigating, and then I'm kind of there in the background, just as either like a reality checker or confirming, just like, I totally I feel that same energy, or like, no dude, I think that's just you, or whatever. And Curtis and I can kind of do live.
It's a really nice balance
in the
it's
moment debunking.
Well, Curtis will get in the face of the spirits, and he'll confront them, because I didn't know this.
They're always confronting me.
I had no idea, so I didn't know bad spirits, good spirits, what's going on. And Curtis undid that mystery for me. Told about that mystery. So
right, and it's just kind of funny, like we were saying before we went live tonight, that it's a shame that we get so many of the feisty spirits, but it's also kind of entertaining. But it's also their lower vibration, and the negative entities are the ones that have more sass, more attitude behind them. They come through immediately. They're almost too easy to overhear because they are on the lower vibration, and they're just really, really accessible. And the ones who seem to be, maybe positive, or the ones who maybe actually have ties to the location, they get drowned out by the lower vibration spirits, because they're just I guess it's I don't know, being rude has more energy than being kind, almost, in a sense. So we get a mix, but Curtis.
Discussion about that.
Yeah, that's a whole other philosophy.
Might get into some politics.
Maybe it's easier to be rude than it is to be kind. So, but it just seems that is
Put your mic in front of you, Curtis. Curtis, tell when we were just talking about. We went to a place in Virginia called New Valley Gorge, West Virginia. River Gorge.
New River Gorge.
New River Gorge. And
what's the name of that little town? Thurmond.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's Thurmond, West Virginia. Which I think when we went there a couple of years ago, there were still 3 people listed as residents of the town.
Oh wow, that's like Centralia, where most of the town's abandoned.
So apparently since then they have either passed on or moved on, or whatever the case may be. But those 3 people are not there anymore. So that is our newest national forest. So the Thurmond and the whole area around it are now national forest that we can all go and visit and enjoy. But there's a little old town left there that's apparently going to be left to fall down now.
That's a shame.
There's tons of ruins there.
That's where we got chased by the dogs. Yeah, that's where we found it.
Oh, wild dogs came out?
Yeah, and I think that one building that we were in was part of a hospital or part of a medical facility or something, because that's what we kept getting on and that's what the people that lived up there told us it was part of the old hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we ran into people they're just riding their ATV. I'm running the dogs, and the truck's following, and Curtis is out there with us, and we ran into people, and they're like, hey, if you guys are doing some paranormal investigations, go down to this point, because there was someone murdered there. It's a murder scene from...
That was that house with the pants nailed to the ceiling.
This is where you tried to free the spirit. Yeah, there were pants. Yeah,
that was that other house.
That's disturbing.
But when we went down, they said there was somebody hung there and murdered there.
Oh, at the silos.
At the silos.
Right.
That
was a murder scene. No, it was just a straight up murder scene. A guy killed a girl and I guess cut her up.
Yeah, we what year was that, in the 1800s, or was that
the 80s?
The 80s, 1980s.
That was in the 80s,
yeah.
I think.
Wow.
The 1980s. So we of course wanted to investigate.
Yeah.
And we went down there, and Curtis was trying to free the spirits. That's what we were just talking about.
Like I said, I usually don't act like that on investigations. That's a rarity for me to get in and
but that video is up, right?
Yeah, that video's up. That video's up.
What would be the title of it for people to go check out?
New River Gorge. WereWoofs. It's on the WereWoofs YouTube. Maybe
somebody was. We had a couple of views last night, because the last couple of days people have been watching it for some reason. It's just strange that we ended up talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
There's no coincidences.
Right. So yeah, it's definitely, we're getting signs that it's time to get back out there, which is exactly what we plan to do. I mean, we're all vaccinated and we'll be outside anyways. So we're ready to go.
Yeah, we're
out there with the cicadas and the heat.
you got the cicadas just add to our realm, our paranormal realm.
There'll be white noise in the background.
But you gotta check out our videos from last year. Not even
Definitely,
all of them
go back on our channel after we wrap up here and just check out some of what we've done in the past. You'll get a feel for what's coming.
We'll still be releasing videos for probably the next couple months because not even all of them
we have
edited.
backlog.
But we've gone to places that few have gone to because we're willing to trek through the woods and through the trails because I have the dogs and I have the vehicles that can get us there.
We end up miles deep in
very remote locations,
thick forest, and just finding a cave that is like a half-built, abandoned railway project.
Right. That was abandoned. Yeah.
That's abandoned and full of bats. But we go in there and we're in there for a couple hours of an investigation. So it's kind of our style.
Yeah, it is, and we also
or the coal mine.
We learned from Curtis to visit the cemeteries and do some.
Which is funny because I used to not like cemeteries.
Hollowed ground is not always hollow.
The ones that are not. The cemeteries that seem like they're not being taken care of are usually the most active.
Right.
The ones that are being well taken care of and are well groomed and manicured, usually there's no problem with.
Well, the one on the first investigation we did with Ann, you went to the abandoned railroad tunnel, but you didn't stay with us. We went to what was that Pandemonium?
Pandemonium. That small.
That was the cemetery, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a town.
Yeah, it used to be a town, right?
It was.
Yeah, it was a town in Pennsylvania, and apparently most of the people in the town succumbed to a smallpox epidemic, or maybe scarlet fever, but one of those.
I do remember you saying smallpox.
It might have been smallpox. Early 1900s, just about everybody in the town succumbed to a smallpox epidemic, and I think the last resident either moved away or passed away in the 1920s. But the town, there's a little abandoned cemetery. The town was actually founded in the 1700s. It was called Pandemonium because the people that founded the town spoke 3 different languages, and they couldn't decide on what language they were going to speak, much less what they were going to name the town. So they ended up calling it Pandemonium because that's what it was.
Yeah, well, at that cemetery, I'd never seen anything like it because we identified them as children's graves.
Oh, and didn't you find the sloth doll
on
one of the graves?
Yeah, this is nothing we set up. I mean, this is like someone set this up for it, we thought.
And it's not, it's still in good condition, too.
It was a sloth doll.
Yeah.
People are like, in recent times, going and still putting like memorials.
Do you think someone put that there recently, or
it wasn't in poor condition, was it?
No.
Like the photo that Doug took of it.
It was kind of. I mean, he'd been there. I'd say he'd been there probably about a year.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Sitting there. Yeah.
But for a town that was founded in the 1700s to have something that was there in the last year,
the doll was on died in like 1848. So I mean, the doll, anybody alive that has anything to do with that child anymore, they wouldn't know anything about it.
No, and someone had still recently put something there, so
yeah,
it's kind of sweet.
I am, and I know these guys are really much interested in the history, and that's when I'm on the trail doing my wolf driving adventures.
Well, it helps direct the investigation if you know where you are,
right?
And what happened.
Right. That's what's so intriguing to me, though. Just thinking about, wow, close your eyes and you can feel what it was like 200 years ago.
And while we're there, it's just a hill of grass.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But there's no. It hasn't been developed. There's no big buildings.
Nobody's came and messed with it, and then 200 years later, here we are, and it
trying to tell history through paranormal
we're on the hill of
investigation.
what was an entire town, and
well, the other place we went.
Or the mass grave.
The mass grave. We went there. Yeah. The mass grave, that was on Sulphur Springs. That was near the Paw Paw Tunnel.
That was near Paw Paw.
Do we have those clips?
What's
clips to cut in? Because that was one of the things that was on those clips.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we do have a couple of clips. Of,
can we play the clips?
The Sulphur Springs. Well, that's what we're talking about. Is the Sulphur Springs.
We have about, I guess, like 10 minutes left.
If we could just do that
tonight, but
one, that's what
I mean, we could wrap up with our.
Yeah, well,
with our.
He's gonna. I think Rod's gonna try to play it, but it was a mass grave site supposedly, or it definitely was, and we did a investigation. You want to play it? Yep.
But there were 3 children's graves on top that were actually marked, and one of the boys was named Jacob. And we ended up getting his voice down at the Paw Paw Tunnel.
He
also
followed
on
us that
another-
night
Yeah.
from.
I think
Yeah.
I think he just followed us down. Well, he probably took a shortcut.
I don't. He would have to tell you which one it is. Is it that one? Can you see? We're on live TV here, relatively speaking. So he's gonna step out and do that. But this is another investigation that we all did together. We actually had a tour guide on this. I'm gonna call him a tour guide.
Oh, that was nice having
Billy.
a local resident come out and
Yeah, we were
help
able to
us-
hire someone to
help
help
us
us find some of
navigate.
these areas.
Because
That's
literally
what.
we're in the middle of the woods and we're just walking and walking for, I don't know, 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden he sees a rock and he's like, "That's the marker."
He's showing it right on there. Okay, so you're seeing this on the video now, correct, Rod? They're going to be seeing that, and we'll talk you through it. Curtis will tell you. It's coming on right about now, I think. There we
Here
go.
it comes.
Okay.
Yeah, the first clip's gonna be listen for the voice of a little boy.
Okay. Can you crank that volume up, Rod, on there? Okay. Trying to get all our systems right.
We
so.
went back to
This
Yeah.
is our first day.
This is
And this
live.
is kind of
Our
like
first time
what we're
doing that.
thinking we're going to keep doing, come in a couple times a month. So.
Here we go. It's on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, son. Okay, there it is. All right, here we are at the Paw Paw Tunnel. We were getting interaction with our what is that piano called?
Oh yeah, the para tune. What's the piano?
What's
the motion.
piano
of-
called? I don't
Oh,
know one.
Lord.
Y'all both got-
It'll come to
y'all-
me in a couple
They both
of
got one, but
minutes.
they don't know what it's called. Anyway,
It's like the paranormal piano. Or
Anyway, there's a
music
little
box,
piano
paranormal
that
it's called
plays
the
music.
box.
And we think this was the boy Jacob. But it's literally taken us 2 years to realize that the name Jacob, you're going to see at the end of this clip that the name of the little boy buried on top of the tunnel is also named Jacob. So from that first clip that you saw, we heard the boy's name, Jacob, spoken, and then also we found out later on that it matched the name of the boy that's buried on top of the tunnel. Or does it shock you when you touch it? That was wild. Something did it when I broke my. Sounds like it, or they at least know something about it.
What's your name? Can you see the name on there, anybody? Jenna?
That was the last name.
Jenna.
Are you here, Jacob? Yeah. So that was 2 years before we had recorded his name. I don't know if it was him or another spirit saying his name, but we had recorded him saying his name down at the Paw Paw Tunnel. That was the first part of the clip. So it literally took us 2 years to find his grave. But that was one of the things that he had said was find me. Mm-hmm. But it took us 2 years.
That's wild. That's really cool. So for those
And
of
we
you,
only figured that out recently.
yeah, see this is what happens and what Ann was talking about earlier. You got to really go through, and what Curtis and Ann do, go through all the footage and listen and really, I guess, examine
Yeah.
everything going on, and then you can start putting things together. The
Right,
history.
and then we actually get the chance, like with Jacob, some of these lost spirits, we actually get the chance to help them, even if it takes 2 years.
Yeah, and I think his thing was that was something that we had debunked a story with the Paw Paw Tunnel, was that there was a murder there, and there was a murder related to the mass grave, but not the story that was being told. There was a story being passed around by the locals that there was a lock keeper that murdered his family, but that's not true. It never happened there. It actually did happen in another lock house 70, but it did not happen at the lock house at the Paw Paw Tunnel. So I think the story for the little boy Jacob is that the children who are buried on top of the Paw Paw Tunnel probably need to be remembered more than the story that never happened. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think people would like when they go there to visit the tunnel. I think Jacob would like people to mention his name and say, "Hi, let's go play." I
Right.
think he'd love
To know that they're there.
to know that they're there for him, not this fake story.
Have to correct the story, essentially.
Yeah, and that's what we do. I mean, that's what.
And the spirits there seemed frustrated that the story was wrong. I mean, that's
No,
one
you
of the
want to
things
be.
we got at the end of our investigation was a voice that said they don't know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
and he was right. They did not know what they were talking
Because
about.
we started questioning about the incorrect story, so they
Yeah.
dent know how to respond to us, and
And
they
he
let
said-
us know.
And he said that they don't know they didn't know what they were talking about.
Right. Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, the Paw Paw Tunnel itself, the story about that's fascinating. That is the tunnel where the canal runs through it on the C&O Canal, where they built this back in the 1800s, and it took them. They thought it was going to be a year to build it,
was a
and
million
it took them
bricks.
14 years. So in the interim, the railroad caught up to the canal and became the preferred choice of transportation for people and for cargo. So that kind of wiped.
Then they just abandoned
They kind of abandoned
project,
it, but it is to today. I believe it's the longest longest tunnel that a canal goes through, and they still have it in its form. It's still, I guess there's still water there that we see,
Yeah.
and it still goes through it.
It just never was really too heavily used for trade.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
The railroad
Because
came
the railroad came
Well,
in.
and when it was getting used, they found that having a one-way tunnel didn't work because if you had barges coming both directions, somebody had
There's
to
no
wait.
room, yeah.
That was another problem. And see, the trains, they built two sets of tracks, so the trains just passed on by each other.
So you see, we get as much information as we can possibly find on these places that we go to, and even, when we're on site actually doing the investigation, we always have a journalist person who comes with us to do a little write-up after the fact, and Keith actually is the one who comes out most often. He is really awesome at doing in-the-moment research. So he will, when we have reception, which is not too often, but when we do, he will be the first to get on his phone and start researching the location or researching, the local stories and things to kind of confirm or correct.
Or debunk,
Yeah, and really let us know, what happened, where we are, and things like that. So he's really great for stuff like that in the moment. And then, he includes it in his write-up, too.
Yeah, it's really interesting because we'll get a name or we'll get some information that we don't know what it means through either some of these audio devices I was telling you that how the spirits are communicating with us. And Keith will go right out and say, oh, this name or this person is relevant to this.
Right.
And then we can start asking questions about that person that we may be talking to.
Because he'll
or that
do
may
research on
site.
what the ovulus is saying, or, what if one of us are getting a certain type of feeling, he'll research.
Yeah, and the Ovilus is one of our high-tech audio communicators, basically.
It's like a live EVP.
Yeah.
So it's a way to monitor your audio recordings live.
Live.
Yeah.
And you might be familiar, people watching this, if you're familiar with Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, whatever they were, where Bill Chappell was a big part, his equipment, and he developed the Ovilus.
Yeah, he invented it, right?
Yes, he invented. And he also invented, one of his other big inventions was the...
was it a spirit box?
No, it was the light ray gun that they call the SLS cam.
SLS.
And
that
to me is one of the coolest devices. And what that actually does is it uses ConnectX from the Xbox, and it takes light basically and spreads it out. And so if we shine it at a person or a camera or a microphone, it'll show you that through its illustrations, how
It's
it
like
does
a
it.
motion tracker.
Yeah.
Essentially, and it'll outline the object, so it tracks motion and then locks onto that motion and then builds points
around it.
that it can
But
connect to.
the most telling is if we shine it, if I shine it at Para Ann, it'll give her shape. But when you shine it in the air and you start getting the shape of a person or a stick figure, that something's there. It'll identify it as an anomaly, and it will tell us that something is present with us. And for us, one of the most tail of the tape, one of the most telling signs is to try to reach out and touch that anomaly. And if
Or
that
shake its
responds
hand
by
or-
moving
yeah.
back on the SLS cam, then you'll know
And that's
it's legit.
happened.
It's the real deal.
That's
right.
happened to
That's
you
happened.
before.
Yeah.
That's happened.
Like
Yes.
you reached out to touch the hand, and the stick figure has actually you see him just jump back.
Yeah, that's
Right.
that'll give you chills and make your hair stand up on your arm, whatever.
Yeah, because you're seeing that live, so
Yeah.
you know right then
It-
there's some like unseen entity like actually present with you.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
incredible. It's I love it. And usually to run all this equipment, and that's why we have a team with us. You can't be a one-man show. It's hard to run this, run that, and the other, and then to try to, I guess, interpret everything coming back at you.
Yeah, because I
on
mean we have
set.
a lot of devices, so it's kind of like we have to dedicate like, okay, this set of ears can listen to this group of equipment, that set of ears can listen to that, or like monitor that, or whatever, because it's just one person is not going to be able to really hear or view,
Right,
everything
exactly.
that's going on at once, because we have a lot of different perspectives that we set up on purpose, again, just to make sure we have coverage of the area, and also for debunking purposes, because if every audio recorder or every video camera is seeing and hearing the same thing, we know that it's not specific just to like maybe like a defect in a device or something, that maybe, okay, this is something really environmental.
Yeah, we try to be as accurate as possible, and that
Yeah.
just helps our accuracy. But usually when all this comes together, Ann or Curtis will direct it and try to put the whole story together.
Yeah,
And
we're
that's-
kind of good at killing everybody's excitement.
like, no, that was just this. That was just
Yeah, and just saying, hold on, let's think about that.
Yeah, let's test that.
But we're right around the end of our time for tonight, it looks like. And so we just wanted to say thank you to everybody who has been on the YouTube live chat. I've been monitoring that as we've been broadcasting. And let us know if this is something that you've enjoyed watching and you want us to keep doing. Our idea is to come in and do this, on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, whatever we can fit in, and just give you guys updates
Or
and
at least monthly.
at least
Yeah.
monthly. Yeah, keep you guys in the loop with everything and give you a chance to interact with us through the chat room, and let us know your thoughts and things that you'd like to see, or even places that you think would be cool for us to investigate.
And don't forget to subscribe.
And definitely subscribe if you haven't to the
And
YouTube
subscribe to
channel.
Ann's page.
Yes.
Coffee with the Dead.
Yes, subscribe to my Coffee with the Dead. I do a parapsychology chat show on there, and it's usually live on Sundays. And then, of course, follow us on the Facebook page with WereWoofs, and follow me. You can go to add the Para-Ann, because for whatever reason there's somebody already called Para-Ann, who is just this little blonde lady with like 3 friends. So I am the Para-Ann, and also you can find my Spirits Wake page and Coffee with the Dead page, and everything links back to each other. So no matter if you're on my page or Bill's page or the YouTube channel or whatever, there are links to everything that I just
Yeah, I was
mentioned.
trying to steer stuff back and forth. So
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
get a hold. There's numerous ways to
You can reach us
get a
from
hold
anywhere,
of us
basically.
to questions, again, recommendations of where to ghost hunt. And if you might be watching our videos and say, wow, they missed this. Well, one thing I wanted to mention just in the last minute or so is Chris is another big part of the team. He's not here with us now. He's always working on our next gig, where we're going to ghost hunt, how we're going to do
And
it.
building
He's-
equipment,
Yeah,
too.
he's
He's done a
one
lot
of the
of
people
engineering
doing
work.
Portal.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
but he's another one. So we have a unique team here with a lot of qualified people in
We think
different
we have all our
areas.
bases covered.
Yeah, and so be on the lookout for us. And Curtis, anything else you wanted to say?
no, just keep watching us.
Keep watching us, because that keeps us going. We get excited.
And chat with me because I get bored.
Yeah, definitely reach out whenever you see a live stream going. Curtis is behind it, so just pop in and say hi.
Yeah, we get excited when everybody interacts and when they know we know you're watching what we're doing and you got questions about it, and it's inspirational to you.
Definitely
in some
love
way.
the feedback, love your thoughts and opinions and things. So leave comments, drop us a line in our inboxes on Facebook, send us an email, however you want to reach out.
Great.
It'll be a few hours, but I'll be restarting our regular stream later tonight when I get back to Stanton.
Great.
I'll probably have some new video on that too for you guys.
So thanks so much for watching, and I guess we'll see you next time around.
We'll see you next time. Have a
Yeah.
great day.
Thank you.
Cool.
Sweet.
We did good.
Nice.
Yeah, I think we got plenty to
That
talk
wasn't too
about.
Oh,
Yeah.
we could have.
Yeah, I